Okay.
Chrissy look it up today.
Okay, before I call the meeting to order, I'm going to ask Ryan to say the prayer.
We'd like to get by your next meeting. Heavenly Father, Lord, we're thanking and we praise you, Lord, for this day. Lord, we thank you, Lord, for all your many blessings that you bestow on us, Lord. We just ask, Lord, you continue to be with us, continue to be with this county, Lord. We just ask, Lord, you would just show us your favor. We just ask, Lord, give us wisdom and guidance over this meeting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, I call the meeting to order. Approval of claims for June the 2nd. Any questions? Not, do I have a motion to accept?
I'll move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approval of claims for June the 16th. Any questions? If not, do I have a motion to accept? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, under old business, we're going to open up the RFPQs for the Buffalo Trace project.
We only had one that I had emailed to you guys. I'm sorry, I don't even have it printed out. It's from Garmong. Let's see here. Sorry, I emailed it and
That's okay.
didn't print it. Let's see. Did you guys have a chance to look at that?
I did. I can do the project's introduction. This is the proposals for the qualifications of the Buffalo Trace project. It's for qualified parties to submit proposals and statements of qualifications to design, construct, and maintain the 2.5-mile trail connecting the 5-mile fitness path in Petersburg, Indiana. The project will remove the existing blighted residential adjacent to the trail. The project will also include public art, welcoming the community and highlighting culture and recreation features along the path. The purpose of this intent was to request the proposal's qualifications. It's to enhance the quality of life for the citizens of Pike County and fulfill the board's responsibility to provide safe and modern facilities for such purpose. If you remember, this was a non-match grant of $5 million. And we have one proposal from Garmong. Since we only have one, we can move forward with this. Okay,
I
any
just
questions
texted
on
you
this
guys the summary, too.
proposal? I'm sorry?
I just texted you the summary on the pricing and all that as well.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so the total project cost for this was $960,000, looks like. I'm sorry? Come ahead up. Right, right. It's just this, right. Okay. All right. Any questions on that?
Was that the number that seemed customary to everyone, or? Did anybody have any idea, like, was there a projected cost?
The projected cost of the whole thing was five.
Right, but I meant just this part.
This falls in line.
It-
Yeah.
I didn't know.
So
I haven't.
one of VS Engineering helped us do the engineering, preliminary engineering for it, and to help us set the budget. And so they're part of this project scope. So it's Garmong, and then the BOT is with GM Development, and then VS would be the engineer.
GM is Greg Martz, if you remember.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that it's gonna go over that?
I think, so we advertised all of it for the, sorry. We
Yeah.
advertised the whole project for the total cost. And so the bot means is that that price is locked in. So if anything goes above that, there's no change orders. And so they have to fit it all within the scope. So that's the good part of the build, operate, transfer.
I'm not a project guy, so I didn't know, like, 1/5 of the cost, is that customary, or that's in line?
For the scoping period with everything, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that falls in line with what it's supposed to be. Sorry.
Okay. Any other questions?
What was the name of the group?
It's Garmong, Garmong. There's not any other questions. Do I have a motion to accept this proposal? Do I have a second?
I abstain.
Okay. I second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. You might.
If you wanna know why I abstain, one of the proposals goes across my property, so.
I see, yeah.
All right, moving on. Prosecutor's Office, opioid fund request, RISE peer recovery.
Good morning.
Morning.
We have some folks from RISE here this morning. If you all would stand up. I had a chance to address the commissioners, Logan and I did before, and we've certainly had a lot of.
Thank you for coming too, by the way.
And we're very glad they're here. And we're very glad they've been working with us. We had a chance to send a proposed draft MOU with RISE Peer Recovery. Just by way of background for anyone who has not been here at the previous meeting when we were here, heard the discussion. One of the things my office wants to do better, when I looked at how the prosecutor's office was operating, I realized with the ability to get a new deputy prosecutor who had a passion for drug and alcohol rehabilitation and recovery, we had a chance to improve our rehabilitation and recovery program. I also realized there were a lot of resources that we weren't able to use. And we set out with Logan Tedrow, my new deputy prosecutor, to find the best rehabilitation and recovery program that we could. And then we set out to try to make ends meet, to figure out funding streams and sources to be able to get the program off the ground. All of this has been happening since Logan was hired in March. We came away convinced, which I've talked about before, that RISE Peer Recovery had the best program, best peer support for those struggling with addiction of anywhere around. We had a chance to meet with Judge Murray and the folks from RISE, with the sheriff, the judge. We had a chance to talk about everything going on in Daviess County, how Daviess County has managed to lower recidivism rates to around 14%, and we have traditionally, when we put people on probation, been in the 33% recidivist rate area. And it's pretty easy to see why RISE has had such a good program and such a success when you realize how they work with individuals and they meet them on their territory and their terms. They assign peers who have overcome their own struggles with addiction and who have literally been there and done that whenever they're dealing with people who are struggling with addiction. And the peers largely, and I'll use inartful language, but they troubleshoot to try to find out what the struggling points and the roadblocks are going to be to the recovery. And they do some incredible work. Some of the things they do, such as helping people get driver's license, or if you don't have a birth certificate, Social Security card. Those are things that traditionally over my 23 years, I've seen that be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Transportation to employment, jobs, all the different things. Once you get a person back on the road to recovery, there are so many small things that can become the impediment that breaks that momentum. And RISE sets out to try to find those problem areas and work with the individual and meet them on their terms. And in talking about RISE, Logan has actually already been working with RISE, even though we anticipated that at some point in time we'd have to talk about an MOU and funding stream. RISE has been good enough to start the program and provide peer, which Chad, if I could have Chad just stand up. Chad's working actively in Pike County. RISE has assigned Chad to Pike County. And Chad has been on the ground working with people who are struggling with addiction. Logan has seen this over the last 3 months, and I told him I might put him on the spot and ask him to talk a little bit about some of the changes that he's seen in some of the folks we've been working with over the last 3 months and kind of the scope of the program so far.
So we have about 25 cases on the roster currently. 5 to 8 of those are not currently enrolled in the program. They're in sort of the pregame stage, and we're considering if they're appropriate or not. So that leaves us with about 17 to 20 actively in the program now. Of those, 6 have already led to resolutions of their case in full. They've been sent to inpatient treatment facilities. Courses tend to run 9 months to 18 months, depending on how much they need, which is significantly more time than we might have even sentenced them to if we proceeded through on a criminal sentence approach, showing their dedication to recovery. Others are still pre-trial. They're meeting with Chad on the regular and getting their needs assessed to figure out exactly what might be right for them. So far, doing the math, we've had a 5% recidivism rate. Of the 20 cases that are currently involved in the program actively, 1 has been sent back to jail. Now, over time, I don't exactly expect that number to stay that low. Given more time, we will see more failures. We will see more people return to the traditional criminal justice track. But if we didn't have this program, that number would be so much higher already. We would be seeing the same 33 to 36% given the year recidivism rate that we've been seeing. So I think the proof already has borne out in my eyes. I'm thinking of particular cases. There's one guy in particular that comes to mind. I'm going to call him Doug. If Doug was here, you would know him. He has a criminal history. It's like we like to say, it's about a mile wide and just as deep. Mostly drug-related crimes. He's tried different things in the past. He's never been successful. We enrolled Doug in the program about a month and a half ago. Chad has been meeting with him regularly. So far, we would call him a B student. He's been meeting most of his obligations, attending most of his meetings. We've been seeing progress. He's been enrolled in what we call an intensive outpatient program, which is regular meetings with a therapist or with a physician to address the core causes of his addictions and to be able to address them. And that's the term of his probation. He's only missed 1 meeting. They consider it to be only failing out of intensive outpatient if you miss 3. For Doug, that's huge. But the point that I'm driving at and the value that RISE has added is that I've received reports on Doug. He's been upfront and honest with Chad, his peer coach, someone that he can see as an equal, someone that he doesn't see as necessarily having power over him, someone that he doesn't see as judging him for his past, someone that can understand and relate. He reached out to Chad recently. He had a long weekend, and he expressed that he was struggling. He wasn't sure if he wanted to continue, wasn't sure if he could continue. The old difficulties, the old addictions were feeling strong on him. Chad was able to provide the support that he needed, support that I as a prosecutor could not provide, support that perhaps his family couldn't provide, or anyone that he's had before. They met, they discussed where he's at, and they have a new plan. He's still going to his intensive outpatient, but they're talking about additional things that he can be doing to help him out. That's not something we've ever had the resources to do. If we didn't have RISE in place, Doug would have been back in jail already.
And we typically, we would have missed that type of interaction. You can imagine that it's very difficult for people who are probably mistrustful of the system to begin with to come up to a prosecutor in a suit and tie and want to talk about addiction. So Chad being eyes and ears on the ground, committed, and I think that he's gotten to have good enough relationships with the folks he's working with. They know he genuinely cares about them.
And we're hearing the same even from the jail. News about Chad has gotten around. We have individuals that have been reaching out, asking the jailers to reach out to us, asking the jailers to reach out to them individually. I think people are seeing that this is different. I think they're seeing that it's meaningful, and I think they're seeing that it's effective.
Now, we talked before, so you can tell we're very excited about the prospects with RISE, and they've done great work. So the question is, as far as the MOU, what's the bottom line for the county? And I know the newspaper is here, and if I were a county citizen, I would want to know, what does this actually mean? So the MOU is our commitment to engage in professional services with RISE, where they will provide Chad as a peer. And then their expectation is that we can assist with the funding stream and the funding source. The cost is $75,000 for a calendar year. And as I said before, I mean, basically, that they've been going without any funding stream simply to help us out based on our request and our commitment that we would pursue this MOU. So where does the $75,000 come from? Which is the bottom line. The prosecutor's office, in large part, RISE, we're willing to do the heavy lifting on the day-to-day basis to get this thing done. But the bottom line for the county and the taxpayers is we have the opioid settlement. We have restricted funds, my understanding is, and we've talked with Judy several times. She's been very helpful. There is $80,000 or slightly more than $80,000 in the restricted settlement opioid funds, has to be used for a treatment purpose. So that would get us off the ground for year one. And that's what the MOU contemplates. But I also did go to great lengths in the preamble to the MOU, because I think it's important for everyone to know that our heavy lifting is not going to be done at that point in time. We've already started looking at grants. So year 2, 3, 4, it is not my intention in any way to ask the county to come back, and I know it's a council issue, but the commissioners working hand in glove with council and create a new line item, you know, with a new county general revenue stream, especially not now with the budget crisis. So our work is to get in, roll up our sleeves, find grants, different entities from the community. We've had a lot of help with that even already, with different members of the community who have recommended different sources, and we're already looking at that so that we can fund year 2, 3, 4, and it will be easier as we continue to compile the data to get those grant applications together. So that is part and parcel of this as well. Year 2, 3, 4, and after, we're gonna have to dig in and find the grant and community sources that predominantly, there may be county matches involved, but predominantly do the heavy lifting to keep the program going. So that's how year 2, 3, and 4 get done. Do you have any questions?
Guys got questions? I appreciate you guys explaining. I know you came the last meeting, I think it was, and you explained, and it was very good, so.
Thank you.
You're right. I mean, we do have the restricted funds of 80,000. You're looking at 75, so.
It's hard to put a price on the job that your RISE is doing to help, you know, even one individual.
Right.
So I think it's a good thing.
I appreciate that.
I do too. Okay.
I have an MOU that I have signed, I guess, and to make sure I get the county procedure right, do we ask for a resolution to approve the MOU, and then that would enable Mark to sign it?
You don't have to have a written resolution, but it's subject to the council appropriating the money, because they haven't done that yet.
We've
requested
talked
it.
with Judy about getting on
Pardon?
the July 8th, it is the 8th, right?
That's correct.
Council meeting agenda, so that we can take step 2 and get the council and request their approval.
I know when this first came up, I posed the question about, it doesn't say when it's to be paid, the $75,000. But it's terminable on 30-day notice, so, and you said something about quarterly. It
It's
needs to define when it's to be paid.
Okay.
I mean, they can go ahead and approve it, but I would like for you to tell them.
Let me make sure that, my understanding is that that's their, they have other arrangements where that's, the revenue comes out at different periodic we can add a term, if we can get the approval, we can add one term that provides 30-day intervals payments.
That's fine.
So we need to approve the additional and the MOU? Okay. Okay.
I assume you want to go ahead with it now, so yeah.
You guys are okay moving forward with both? Well, can I have a motion to go ahead and approve the MOU and the additional? Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You second, right?
We don't care.
Thank you. Okay, that's all the old business, new business, EMS transfer. Looks like we have transfer of professional service to postage to cover the cost of post office box rental of $120. Any questions, anything you want to say? Okay. Any questions? If not, do I have a motion to accept the transfer?
I'll move.
Have a second? All in favor, say aye. All right, EMS new hire, we're going to table that. Sheriff Fire Protection proposals. Jason.
So we had one of our main fire panels there at the jail. We had it inspected. We have to do annual inspections on that panel. We had a couple of sensors in that fire panel that actually had went out. And so they started looking at trying to replace that in parts. The panel we have inside the jail is obsolete, and they cannot find that part for anything. I mean, that's 32 years old, and it's just, they've looked for it everywhere. Currently, we are using Corson's as our provider for fire panel and inspections. And we got a quote to replace that panel as well as the sensor ducts. It's in the building, throughout the building, our fire alarms, sprinkler systems, that kind of stuff. The quote to come in was pretty high. And then once the tariff stuff started coming in, they quoted us it was gonna be at least $15,000 more than what they quoted us. So we started looking at different companies. I got with Jeff, and we found another company called Tri-State Protection out of Evansville. And they came in, they give us a quote to replace everything that's in the jail, our panel, the sensors, everything that we need to be up to date with. And it was probably about at least $15,000, if not gonna be more than $20,000 cheaper than what Corson's is. So that has to be replaced. We have to have that. If we don't have that fixed, then we won't pass fire inspection. And that's what we do not want.
So the State Fire Protection Incorporated is $28,892.
Yep.
And Corson is $37,974.
And they said, on the Corson's, like I said, they said that was, we've been waiting on a new invoice, or not invoice, but a new quote from them. But that, because of tariffs, they said that was gonna go up at least another 10,000, if not more, off the Corson's quote. So,
But
Tri-State is the same. Yeah,
Tri-State's telling you the same?
yeah, it's the same.
Go up?
That's not going up. That's
Oh,
their
it's not
quote.
going up,
No,
okay.
that's their quote,
Okay.
so.
Any questions?
Did you make a phone call into A and B Fire? And
We talked to A and B. They don't do some of the things that these companies do. Like the Tri-State will cover all of our inspections. They'll cover all of our, everything that we need throughout the year for our inspections for our jail. A lot of companies might come in and just do, they might do the checks. They might do maybe the kitchen checks with the stuff, but they don't do the whole thing, yeah. So,
Okay. Jeff, you got any comments? Okay. Anything else?
No, I mean, he's covered it. I mean, those are the three companies.
you're satisfied with Tri-State, and if they are the lowest bidder, I'd say we, okay. Do I have a motion to go ahead and move with Tri-State protection on the fire system? was-
While I'm up here, I give you guys another.
Wait a minute,
just
hold
little-
on. Did you have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sorry, okay, go ahead.
Last week, we have an elevator in our jail. It goes from our main floor down to our basement. That is also obsolete. It quit working the other day, and Brian started getting some information on it. They're telling us that, as of right now, that we could temporarily fix that. I'm waiting on a cost for what it would cost just to temporarily fix it, and then what it would cost to get it to up to date to where we can run it on a daily basis like we do. Usually that elevator doesn't get used much. Inmates up and down. If we have somebody that's got to go down from upstairs to downstairs, maybe by somebody from the public for meetings or whatever it might be, it has to be used. They can't climb the steps, but that elevator's in there. We have to have it operational. So we're gonna, like I said, we're just waiting to see what it's gonna cost to get the prices in on that too. So
Our folks that looks at our elevator, have you talked to them?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Brian said it's, anything to do with an elevator is gonna be very expensive. It's a
Yeah.
pretty expensive. item,
Always.
so.
Okay,
All right,
thanks, sir. All right, Christie, you want to talk about the covered bridge statement?
I don't know much about it. Judy received this. Apparently, the state is requiring each county to provide a statement, I think annually, is it, Judy, on how many covered bridges we have? We don't have any, so ours will be a simple.
It's just certification that we don't have any.
Okay. Is this just something, just a notification? Do we have to prove anything here?
I mean, just the certification, I guess.
Just have to
Just the
sign that that's
statement,
true,
yeah.
that we have none.
Okay, we'll just sign it. Okay,
This is the first year they've required signature on it.
okay.
Apparently, there's been some counties perhaps not reported accurately.
Oh, okay.
You all sign it, so I would approve it.
That's what I was wondering. Okay. Do I have a motion to go ahead and accept this, approve this memorandum of the covered bridge statement stating that we do not have any covered bridges in this county?
I'll move.
Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, John, Financial Services Group Agreement.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You have in front of you a proposed agreement with Financial, is it Services Solutions?
Solutions.
It's Financial Solutions Group. Council has been really struggling as we look down the road with the impacts of Senate Bill 1. We have a lot of changes coming that are going to be mandated as far as our local government funding sources. There's going to be fundamental changes to our property tax system. There's going to be fundamental changes to our income tax, and also a pending decision that has to be made regarding wheel tax, all of which have been imposed by this last session of the General Assembly. I think council, and I give hats off to Judy and the auditor's office and to our department heads. For years, we have done a really good job forecasting and budgeting, and that's shown by our strong balances. We've been very conservative in our spending, and our balances have grown. We've been able to bump our rainy day fund up to where we've got $1 million in the rainy day fund. And we are setting in pretty good shape financially, thank goodness, because of these pending changes that are now being forced on us by the new legislation. As we look ahead, there are so many moving parts, and one of the things that makes me most nervous is the long-term look at utilities. Utilities are such a huge part of Pike County's taxation picture, and with the potential that most utilities are considered business personal property, distributable property, and they will allow now to be fully depreciated, meaning down to zero tax value under the new legislation. So we have a lot of changes coming. And honestly, even as good as some of us are with municipal finance, with local government finance, we are not able to digest all of this on our own. So we have, and we are already in the minority that we do not employ a financial advisor to help with budgeting and long-term forecasting. And I think it's time that we make that investment. So what you have before you is a contract for this year, not to exceed $30,000 with Financial Solutions Group. We found them to be very cost-effective. I know we use, and there's other firms that we've used for economic development deals. The hourly rate, and these guys are about a half to a third of what we pay some of the bigger firms. And then also, they have a really strong experience level with utilities, which is what really appealed to me. And Mark will appreciate this, Jeff probably too. The FSG routinely serves as a financial advisor for the OUCC, the Office of Utility Consumer Counselor, who goes to bat against utility companies with IURC proposals. So they have a very strong knowledge base when it comes to particularly electric utilities, and which is a big part of our funding stream here. So with that in mind, we've got this before you, and the good thing about it, they're willing to meet with department heads, they're willing to attend meetings, and Mark even be part of like a monthly call. So the counties that use them give them pretty rave reviews. We've seen their work product, a pre-budget work product that they've delivered to other counties, including counties our size, and we're comfortable. So council had voted to request an additional appropriation and then also to pass this on to you to execute the contract.
And you guys had a couple meetings, at least one, maybe two, I don't know how many, and talked to them, you feel very comfortable. You've talked to other counties, all this, so.
And this is just expires at the end of this year, so we'll use them this year. If we don't like something or they don't like us, we probably have a different contract next year, or we could even go a different route with a different, financial advisor. But we're pretty optimistic this is going to be a good relationship.
So what's the fear if we do nothing? The fear is we'll burn up our reserves down the road without seeing it
Correct.
coming.
Yeah, with strong reserves, there's no question we're going to be in good shape to be able to, get a budget. But when you look at trying to give employees raises, when you look at just how much bridges cost and everything that we have to do and we have to match, and to be able to support good programs like what we heard earlier today with, RISE. Obviously, there's a short-term solution, but long-term, there needs to be a path forward to sustain those kind of programs. So that's a great point, Jeff. Yes, we would burn through reserves, and then you're at a spot where, employees are at risk and, having to lay off and things like that. We never want to be in that position.
Well, your comment, we've really never seen such changes with Senate Bill 1 like what we're seeing now, so.
Yeah, and there's been some, Mark, I'll comment on that because there's been some comments about, well, we need to kind of lobby for ourselves, because there's a lot of rumor that what got passed this next year will be tweaked over the next couple years. But honestly, we need to know what to ask for. If we are asking for changes in the legislation, we need to know the impacts it's going to have on us so we know what to ask for and to advocate for.
Right.
I think it's a wise decision, especially to get all the help we can get with the knowledge that they'll have, especially on the utility side of it. So I think it's a good thing.
Why the mystery? Why is the state government doing this and leaving it mysterious? Like, nobody knows what the future is or how it's going to impact. So I don't get it myself. I don't understand.
I don't know.
I mean, you can't answer that.
I know, I can't answer that.
Everybody
It's
wanted
just
this.
that, yeah. It's just a lot of changes that happened this time, and still trying to figure it out, I guess.
Well, I think just at the state level, it's a moving target right now. I mean, there's so many changes.
It's the hardest thing to read that I've ever read.
Well, and there was a lot of, and I'm sure everyone knows, there was a lot of emphasis at the state level to do something positive for taxpayers and property taxpayers. And they've done that. But what it's done is it's pushed the decision-making all down to the local level. So these changes in income tax that are forthcoming, the income tax as we have right now completely is dissolved in 2027. So beginning with 2027, for adoption in 2028, we have to annually adopt our income tax rate. Right now, once it's set, it stays until we change it again. Every year, it's going to have to be set. The county's going to have responsibilities to take on adopting taxes for the city of Petersburg because they're not big enough to adopt their own. That's going to require a whole nother conversation. The wheel tax, just to mention that briefly, while we're under no obligation to adopt wheel tax, we will leave hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table that would flow to our county highway department if we fail to adopt it. So there's a state, what they did was they capped the community crossings money. So there's only so much money that will go into community crossings grants. The surplus that funds that community crossings fund is redistributed to counties that have adopted a wheel tax. So not only would we get the wheel tax revenue, but we would also get hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional county highway revenue if we adopt it. If we don't adopt it, the counties that have adopted get to split that money that would have came here. So they're holding us hostage to essentially forcing us to adopt one.
That's a fact.
And again, what do we adopt? We can't just guess.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where the financial consultant comes in.
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion to go ahead and approve this proposal from Professional Services?
I'll move.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mark,
Yes.
you didn't have the additional before you, but it is just for the amount of the 30. Can you go ahead and approve the additional? Although you will meet again before the council would have to take final action, so it's totally up to you.
Okay.
I guess my request was for both the contract and for the additional.
For the additional, oh, sorry, okay. All right, so we have an additional for 30,000. Any questions on that? If not, do I have a motion to accept the additional for 30,000 for professional services?
Is it in here?
No, it's not.
From where to where?
I didn't have it.
Can we go
No,
ahead and
it-
accept it? Can we go ahead and approve it?
Yeah, I think so. I
It'd
just
be
didn't
from
have the
seated.
physical copy for
From
your, I
seated
didn't have
to-
it for your
okay.
packets. So I don't know where they're taking it from.
Be seated,
Okay,
From seated to professional services?
yes.
the motion is 30,000 from seated to professional services. Have a second?
I motion.
Oh.
Oh, no, he motion.
He motioned.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. All right. Sorry for the confusion. Okay. All the new business by commissioners. Christie, you want to talk about the front step handrailing?
So I guess over the course of the years, while my office has been on this side of the building with the old blinds we had, I never had mine open.
Yeah.
So having now new windows and blinds, my windows are open, and we have had numerous elderly people struggling with those front steps when they come in. So I'm asking for handrails that would be ADA compliant to go on each side of those. They would stop at the top of the last step, so it would not block the bench, but would go down to the sidewalk. To be ADA compliant, they have to have what they call the flags at the end that extend out. I have already talked to the mayor to make sure that if we went into the sidewalk, Tuffy and I were just concerned about impeding you know, people on the sidewalk running, riding their bike, anything like that. That is a double sidewalk there. RC didn't have any concerns about it. If they can go like at a 45, I would prefer that, but I still haven't gotten an answer on that yet, if they have to be straight out, or, I know there's something about not breaking the angle that they're at already, so I'm not sure how exactly we could turn those, or if they have to be straight at the end. But I did get 2 quotes, one from Anya, one from Sisson. Sisson's is just regular silver first, the galvanized, which would match our grates and would match what the city has, which is why we did it that way, but also with an option to powder coat black, which is honestly what I think would look better and would last longer, but that would be $55.23 altogether. And Onyx was $7,525. So I don't have funding for this. I will have to go to the council and ask them. I just feel like it's something that needs to be added.
So long as it's $2,000 more, if we powder coat.
Yeah, I would see no reason not to go with Sisson. I would just need the decision on if you wanted to do the galvanized or the powder coated. And like I said, it still has to go to the council. I don't
Sure.
have the funding.
Are these quotes with installation?
Yes.
Yes.
Any thoughts, questions? How you
Is there
wanna do it?
any impact for the historical building that we have to mess with, or is it?
You know what, since it doesn't impact the actual building, I didn't even think about it, but I can ask before I move forward. Yeah. I didn't even, since it wasn't attached, I didn't even think about that, but I will ask them before like I said, I don't have a final answer from the ADA either on, I had reached out to some of my contacts on the end flags, whether they could be angled.
So
The
if they're-
churches are, but their steps are, and so I'm not really sure, since it follows the slope of the steps, if that's why they're allowed to angle them, or if it's, like, I
So
know that,
If we have to angle them, the price may change.
I don't think the price would change, it would just be the aesthetic of it. I'm just trying to keep it out of the way of the sidewalk, but it may not, that may not be what the ADA intended when they put those. It may need to come straight out, since our steps come straight out.
Well, we've had a couple tort claims from falls here.
Yeah. They're not high, and the tread itself is, that's 4 feet. It's just, there's nothing to hold on to. I mean, most of them have ended up going into the grass just to avoid taking the steps. And they can walk around. I mean, we have the sidewalks that are ramped, but where those parking spots are out up front, that's quite a distance then for someone that's truly struggling to walk.
Okay. How you want to move? You want to move forward on it? And if you do you want the powder coating?
I would lean more towards powder coating.
Powder coat would match the building
Yeah.
better.
And I'll need also to prepare an additional for this if we do move forward, or a transfer if I can find it.
All right. Well, do I have a motion to go ahead and accept the lowest bid, which is Sisson Steel, for $5,523, and that's with powder coating? Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Team Care Non-Bargaining Unit Participation Agreement.
Yep, I didn't see any differences in this from other years. We actually, for the first time since I've been here, they're not changing the rates. Our insurance rates will stay the same for 2026, and this would be for the non-bargaining unit participation agreement.
Okay.
Bargaining goes through the union, so.
Any questions on this agreement? If not, it is $440.70 per week.
Yes,
But yeah, I've always seen it change.
yep.
Yeah, it's always went up.
That's right.
All right, do I have a motion to go ahead and, any discussion on it? Do I have a motion to go ahead and accept this Team Care Participation Agreement?
I'll move.
Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then the only other thing is the clerk treasurer monthly report.
Yep, you actually only have April. I ended up not getting the other May one, so we'll do that next time. So it's
Okay.
only April.
Okay. All right.
Did you want to go ahead and talk about the streaming?
Sure.
So we are streaming live and switching back and forth, but it's kind of slow and delayed. John was actually listening to it while he was here. He said the audio was not too bad from the speakers. Here would just literally be, you've got to have them
We got to be up here like this.
That's right. We do have an echo, but I didn't want to start messing with it, and I was afraid the echo's coming from the projector speaker, I think. But honestly, I was a little scared to start messing with it while we were already live, so that would probably need to be fixed. But the proposal that we had, so we initially had the three, and then just a couple of people that would come in and try to troubleshoot what we had. The one in the middle was Ultimate Technology Group. We went with the OWL last time. The OWL did work. It cannot go through our system. So what you get with the OWL, the rotating camera and the speaker on it would be, that's what's streamed. There, you can't use our speakers, our cameras and that kind of stuff with it. I did reach out to the company that installed ours, and he said that's not how they're meant to go through the switcher. So I reached back out to to Ultimate Technology Group. They did a demo, videoed it on a Teams meeting, which I sent to you guys. It has a small panel. It would be a one-button push. They would have it set up. The only thing that's not in the agreement, they do have the regular agreement, they have the agreement with upgraded mics, and they have the agreement with upgraded wireless mics. The only thing that's not in that amount is any troubleshooting or tech agreements to get a player embedded in our website, which I would prefer to do. I don't know if this is accurate, but John was telling me this morning that many of these very small little towns that are using YouTube, they're starting to require them to have 50 subscribers before they will allow them to stream. So it's an ever-changing thing with YouTube, which is why I think it would just be better to go with streaming it onto our website, but we would have to have a player embedded to do that. Ultimate Technologies Group will work with our website developer to do that. And there's tons of Restream, there's a lot of different players that it's like an app you embed into the website. But I think we would have less trouble in the long run to do that, because we would not be, you wouldn't be going through YouTube, like now I have to do it in 2 different places, but also we wouldn't have to abide by their terms if they change it constantly.
So right now you have $40,000 budgeted
I do.
for this.
I do.
And we're looking at
And then
approximately.
there would need to be a decision. So the actual price of the original one was $38,254.98 with an additional almost $5,500 in the support. The bottom two with the wired mics and the wireless, that first number is the actual project cost. The second number is the service agreement. I don't know if we would always need it the first year. I would definitely think so, just because I'm not probably gonna be the only one doing it. They did say they thought it'd be easy to set up instructions because of it being one touch, that people could come in and use it. But, any open door meeting that is held in this room will have to be streamed. So all of those people are gonna have to be able to do it. I don't know, I'm not IT. I feel like if this works how it should, it's the middle of the road, it's probably the best option. I don't know. I was struggling with ours this morning, and it's still saying an error on there, but it's streaming, so I don't know what the error is.
So,
I don't know how to fix the echo. It took me a few minutes to figure out how to, you can flip back and forth between the speaker. I
Saw
don't know
that.
if you guys were watching. It took
Yep.
me a while. But if there's someone that wants the meeting to go that way, we can do it where you're flipping back and forth. It would take someone to sit here and do it, which is kind of slightly dividing my attention. But I'm not used to it yet, So,
So let's say we want to move forward. We got the 40,000. What if we move forward? What if everybody's in agreement, what if we move forward with that, get us on a list? Because it's going to be a little bit before they could do anything, correct? And then we would have to go back in for the mics.
yeah, so
Right.
6 to 8 weeks is what they had originally told me. I don't know if that has changed at all. It's been probably 6 weeks since that original quote was given. And that is kind of my recommendation too. One, because we have the money, we could get on the list, but two, John said the sound here was good. And I really think if these are how they're if we use them how they're supposed to be used, that they would be sufficient. They may not be great, and I know everybody doesn't want them up in their face, but to get us through at the beginning at least, and then if we needed to upgrade them, we could upgrade them.
Well, we've heard several times that the back row can't hear very well, you
Yes,
know?
yes. And I was
Check it out.
specifically told by a company that, not the company that put these in, that these are good mics for what they are. They just are what they are. You have to have, they're supposed to be within about 6 inches of your face to pick up.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thoughts?
I definitely agree with the easier the better, because if it's not, you're gonna be down here starting stuff up for everybody's meetings, so.
I did what-
Regardless of a cheat sheet,
Yeah.
you know.
And, you know, just to defend the annual service agreement, at least for the year, just like this, or I don't know how to start, I can start troubleshooting, but if we're live and I mess it up, then I messed it up. You know, I mean, I'm still just guessing at how to fix it.
Did you guys watch the video happen? I mean,
Yeah,
okay.
the OWL video.
Yeah, with a
Either one of
touchpad and
them.
starting and
Yeah.
all
Oh,
that?
the video,
Okay.
yeah, for,
Yeah,
yeah, she actually had me in a meeting that
Yeah.
there was another technician that was using the panel.
Where does the OWL stream to?
Where did it stream to?
Can you do it embedded to our,
No, it was on YouTube.
is it like YouTube? Is it
Yeah.
Is that a Google thing, or I don't?
Yeah, we don't have it embedded in the website yet, so I can't try it there. So basically, I was bypassing our system and just using our Wi-Fi and the OWL, and it went to YouTube.
But that was 50 to 60 subscribers.
That's what John said this morning, they were starting. I haven't had that problem. I mean, I'm streaming now, and I don't think we have 50 subscribers, but,
The only
that may
thing-
be something that's coming in the future. I didn't even set this YouTube account up, so I don't know the, like the terms. I didn't even read those at the time. Soltech set this up and set it up for us, so. But I do know one of the other troubles that we had is every time YouTube changes their terms and agreements, then they have to go, Soltech had to go in the back end and fix stuff for me, because I never could get logged in. And the technician that initially set it up said, it's because you have to go in and agree to that. Well, I didn't have it, it was through them, so.
And we discussed this
So
many
wherever we're streaming to, we have complete access and administrative rights to, to go in and do that and accept those, so.
So we've discussed this a lot over
Yeah.
many meetings, and we've discussed the YouTube issues, that if somebody violates their terms, that we could be locked out, things like that, which one county that we know of has, Martin County, I believe.
And with those platforms like YouTube, they add restrictions all the time. So, I mean, it could be 50 today, and it could be something else later. Just, I think we need a more permanent source like our website embedded
Well, you're not
in our
sold?
website.
Still not, no.
Yeah, I know, I can tell Jeff's hesitant.
It's a ridiculous number. That is a ridiculous amount of money.
And I agree with you.
$15,000 for installation.
considering
To plug-
it's a
to
lot
plug
of
some-
our stuff,
Plug stuff in.
the only, and I don't know, Jeff, Mark and I had this conversation this morning, but when you compare it to River Systems that's doing similar and using some of our stuff that's
Yeah.
through Zoom, theirs was 85,000.
Right, which is a more ripoff. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm not gonna argue with you on that. I
This
definitely
is
am not.
just
I just don't know enough about it to delve into the deep end and tell you why.
Yeah, I watched some church services that are using a phone on a stick, and if that's compliant, good with me.
But do we want a
Because
big old owl right in front of us all the time?
I see this all the time. Someone buys this system and then it's never what it.
Like
unless
this
they-
one
unless-
here?
This
unless they-
one?
Yeah, exactly.
Like this one?
Exactly.
Yes.
Or a certain religious organization down the street here, same deal. Got this super system, supercomputer, 2 people can use it. That's it.
And the only defense I have on this one and its streaming capabilities is when we put it in, we did not put it in for the sole purpose of streaming. We put it in more for like virtual meetings, like Teams meetings and Zoom meetings, just because we weren't allowed to all come into the room at the time
Right,
during
that was
COVID.
during the
We
COVID.
added the whole streaming process after the fact. That doesn't mean it still shouldn't work. Like I said, I've talked to other administrators that said this is what we have, it should work. You know, you've got a problem somewhere in your setup that it's not working every time. But, I mean, it does eventually work. It just takes more work to get there. And I did not listen to the sound this time. Last time it was very quiet, but if you look where we're all sitting, we're all 2.5 feet away from our microphones, so.
People's not
And I
gonna be
think
able
that
to
one
hear
just
it.
picks up a little better because of the way it's angled in. Yeah, so if we move forward with these microphones, it has, I mean, we have to at least try to sit closer.
Well, and
Or
everybody,
stick them where they're right.
For this type of money, I still can't believe that someone couldn't drive here and bring you a demo to show us. Here's a demo unit. Here's how it works. It's this easy. It's like buying a car on Carvana. I would never do that. I can't imagine buying a car
No,
without seeing it.
and if that was, I didn't give them an ultimatum, so I mean, that's probably on me a little bit, but.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna table it one last time.
Okay,
We're gonna make a decision next meeting, one way or the other.
okay.
If you can get them, their bodies here in person to give us an example, a trial, that's fine. We'll table it one last time.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, you can demo a lawnmower. I just think you can demo something like this.
All right. Chris?
Hopefully we'll start moving in today.
Good.
Still a few things on the punch list that they've got to finish, but finish all.
You satisfied so far, aren't you? Everything looks good. Good. Doug, you got anything? Jason? Councilman? You just here for the fun of it? Thanks. Judy? Got anything? Anything else, Christie? Okay. Latest on tuck pointing?
Okay, now we got a problem, because it just stopped streaming, so. They are supposed to start anytime, so we've kind of just been waiting on the company to get the bond and the statement of values and all their paperwork in order. I was told last week by Universal, who was the architect that we went through, that they were hoping to have it by Monday or Tuesday based on the company. Still don't have it.
You still don't have it?
So Universal will not issue a notice to proceed until they have all the bonding and everything, so that's what we're waiting on. I've been assured by the company that it's almost finished. Or Universal's been assured by the company that it's almost finished.
But we've been waiting on this bond for a month plus.
We had our design meeting in, March.
Well, they've moved 2 JLGs in for the job.
Moved what?
Man lifts.
Oh, I hadn't
They're
seen
back
that.
here in the church parking lot,
Oh,
Oh, are they?
yeah.
I had not been informed.
So that's kind of odd because they dropped them in the street and then just parked them over there and they
And
didn't,
didn't tell nobody.
no. So I got asked about it and I was like, we don't really have, it's not our lift, but
No, and I didn't know they were, because we had talked at the construction meeting, about private property next door and where our parking lot was, and,
yeah.
so if they are from them, I was not aware.
Okay,
I will reach out today again and find out where we're at.
okay. Anything else? Business by public? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Melanie, can you stay then? Okay, and Val?